There is a man who lives outside of God's light and by consequence outside of his love. He is the arbiter of anarchy, the bane of bartenders. By slipping a small piece of laminated paper across your bar, he has signalled himself as the harbinger of terrible drinks. I think this maybe counts as like the fringes of pop culture, but today we are looking at cocktails on Reddit, on the internet. One day, a little under 2 months ago, I saw a post on Reddit that really kind of took me off guard. A user by the name of u/Ellie the bartender posted an image to the bartenders subreddit r/bartenders, and it was a picture of a small piece of laminated card that had been handed to her by a customer for a recipe for something called Chuck's drink, where the name Chuck is all in capital letters. Now, this card has an extremely long list of some really peculiar ingredients, and it quite quickly became a sort of meme on the bartender subreddit. There were t-shirts made of it, it was a whole big deal. However, one brave bartender going by the name of u/Whizzle Snips actually attempted to make this cocktail, and apparently it didn't taste half bad. However, the recipe sheet for Chuck's drink has no actual measurements on it. So Whizzle Snip said he just free poured the drink, although he thinks he did roughly an ounce for the base spirits and 1/4 of an ounce for the liqueurs. And then I think he said he did a splash for the juices and the mixers. I wonder if that's an imperial or metric splash. But in this experiment, I wanted to actually try to make Chuck's drink in the way that I would any cocktail asked of me by a paying customer, and actually kind of try to figure out the best ratios for all of these ingredients. So first things first, we are going to shake this drink. And so the first ingredient we are going to need is going to be some vodka. A lot of vodka these episodes lately. And then we are going to need 1 ounce of Captain Morgan's spiced rum. And then we have our base spirits. And now we get into the liqueurs, all 7 of them. Firstly, we're going to need 1/4 of an ounce of Malibu, 1/4 of an ounce of Southern Comfort, 1/4 of an ounce of Triple Sec. I reckon we can just go for the cheap brand here. 1/4 of an ounce of Amaretto, 1/4 of an ounce of a Peach Liqueur, 1/4 of an ounce of what he calls Morocco Blue Liqueur. I guess it just means Blue Curacao because I googled that and nothing really came up. So let's just call it 1/4 of an ounce of Blue Curacao, 1/4 of an ounce of a Banana Liqueur. So that is all of our liqueurs, and now we calls for sour mix, which for those that don't know is basically an equal measure of simple syrup and citrus, usually an equal blend of lemon and lime. I don't have any sour mix, so what I'm going to do is essentially just measure out in between 1/4 ounce each of lemon juice and simple syrup. Calls for 1 ounce of orange juice. I call for 1 ounce of orange juice. He just says orange juice. 1.5 ounces of pineapple juice. Now the next ingredient and the final ingredient he lists is Sprite. So I'm going to take that as meaning it's just added after the drink has been shaken. In goes the cocktail. And strain. And last, but oh certainly not least, we're going to top with Sprite. Give it a quick mix. Okay, now to garnish or not to garnish? Well, I figured I've already done way more in terms of gussing up the drink and making it than Chuck ever intended, so I think, why stop here? Stick in a straw, and Chuck, we got a drink. So, let's see how this absolute monstrosity tastes. You know, I was really prepared to hate this drink. But I gotta say, it takes some interesting twists and turns. Damn. Chuck, were you onto something? No, I think you just had insane ramblings on a bit of paper and probably turn up to bars with this laminated card just to harass some underpaid worker. But what you stumbled upon in the process is an entirely unique drink. Could you have pared this down to get some more flavor? Yes. But what do I get from it? Let's try that. I actually get quite a bit of that Southern Comfort up front, but not the harsher, more vomit-inducing notes. I actually get more of the sort of fruity notes because we have the orange juice and the pineapple juice and a litany of other liqueurs in there. I get quite a bit of the Amaretto on the back end. The Blue Curacao and the triple sec come through quite a bit. Of course, we have the orange in there, just boosting those flavors up. I'll tell you what does come through quite powerfully is the Banana Liqueur. It sort of latches to the citrusy notes and then onto the more nutty notes of the Amaretto. The banana is so subtle, and you know, if you didn't know it was in it, you maybe wouldn't latch onto it, but now that I know that there's banana in this drink, I can detect it all the way through the flavor profile. What an interesting drink. Well, there you go, that is Reddit's favorite cocktail. Would I ever order this again? No, I could probably stand to order something better. It does sort of wind up someplace quite similar to a Venom, which I already did a video on a couple videos back. So yeah, an interesting drink. Now that I've had a few sips, it is making me feel a little bit sick, but that's kind of to be expected. So thanks for joining me on this short but sweet video on Reddit's favorite cocktail. Chuck, I think you're an idiot, but I'll tell you what, it's made for a really interesting drink. I would never order this again. But it's been an experience one way or another. Let me know if there's similar drinks that maybe would be a good idea to explore in a video of this format. This actually came from an earnest place. Some guy really actually wanted this drink, and yeah, it exists. It exists now, and I made it, and I spent way more effort on it than I really should have. Maybe I did something terrible. Thank you very much for tuning into In The Drink this week. I hope you had a wonderful time viewing this video as I did making it and drinking part of it. If you would consider liking, commenting and subscribing, I would be greatly humbled, but do not feel at all like it is necessary. Thank you very much, guys, and I will see you next week. Cheers.